Describe a story or a novel that was particularly interesting to you. You should say what story or the novel was, where you came to know about it, when you read it. Explain how you felt about it.
Reading regularly can help someone succeed in life because books are a wealth of knowledge. There are academic books, fiction, historical, autobiography, and story books for everyone. Everybody has different tastes in reading. In addition to books, reading newspapers and magazines is also very common. Like many other people, I enjoy reading books and novels. However, this time I'd like to talk about a rich family fiction novel that I recently read. In a small town, Mr. Charlie and his family used to operate their business while living in lavishness. Unfortunately, a few thieves broke into Charlie's home one day and stole everything while they were away attending a party in another city. They ultimately also set his home on fire. The Charlie family was horrified to see everything, but they didn't lose their courage, and within a few years they had their business up and running again thanks to their previous experience and hard work. I came to know about it through one of my friends because he had already read this book. He told me about the story that had developed my confidence and never said I was not able to do this. He had bought a copy of the book online, so he gave it to me to read. While reading, I felt the story from the inside, and it was an amazing story. I read this book recently when I was traveling by train to Chandigarh. I had enough time, so I started to read it. I was so engrossed in reading this book but had to drop it in the middle because I had reached my destination. When I reached my room in the hotel, I again started reading it as I was free at that time. After 1 hour, I completed my story. I felt so excited and was over the moon to finish the book. It is interesting just because the writer is an Indian and he understands the mindset of the country. He himself is the main character, so he has poured his heart into the book. The language used in this book is easy to understand, and with every page we turn, it becomes more interesting.
What kinds of stories do children like to learn?
Well, children love to read stories and they like all the stories from the animal kingdom and fairy tales. Children don't have a good understanding of mature things, so they prefer the stories which are very basic and interesting as well as inspiring to them, and they also adore humor and comedy stories.
How often do people in your country read novels?
As far as I am concerned, people in my country read novels when they are traveling or when they have free time, because today people are doing so much work all at once. Hence, their multitasking means that reading is an activity that requires a lot of time and attention, so people prefer to read in their leisure time, otherwise, they don't insist on reading.
What kinds of novels old people like to read?
As I believe, old people like to read religious novels and mythological stories. They also love fictional stories, but they are more into spirituality and they like to read novels which they can relate to wars and stories related to the past.
What are the benefits of listening to stories or reading novels?
I think it's important to pay attention and that a great storyteller is necessary when we're listening to a story. The advantage of listening to a story is greater than reading a novel because reading takes a lot of time and requires a lot of concentration.
Are you a good storyteller?
Yes, I enjoy telling different stories to my friends and family members. I consider myself to be a very good storyteller. Being an extrovert, I am able to communicate clearly and convey my ideas through facial expressions and body language. I am skilled at telling stories, and the young people in my neighborhood really look up to me because they constantly request that I read them stories whenever I have some free time.
Do you prefer books or movies?
I definitely prefer to watch a movie, as I don't have that much time to read. And a movie is interesting just because of its audio and visual storytelling. The professional actors make the story look real, whereas in a book we have to imagine all these things.
Do you think it is important to read the book before watching the movie version of it?
No, if you read the book and then go for a movie you will not like the movie. As in the book everything is written so minutely that a movie cannot cover as movies are superficial. So it's not important to read the book first, you can watch the movie and get the thrust of the story.
Do boys and girls like the same kinds of books?
According to my view, it depends on the taste of person. If some individuals have same mindset they might be love the same stories or novels, but if they have opposite interest, it might contradict their preferences.
What kind of books do Indian people like to read?
Well, Indian people are so religious and love their rituals as well as customs, so they like religious, spiritual, fiction and historical books more than others. Books related to gods and their lives are so popular in India. Autobiography of popular leaders is also well read by Indian masses.